Easy. Matt, to start with, can you just describe that feeling getting back on the field and almost the first touch being able to sort of cross the line there?
Yeah, it was unreal. It had been a long, 8 to 10 weeks and frustrating. Obviously, I've had my fair share of injuries, so I was familiar with the process, but it was great to just be back out on the field and enjoying myself.
I think it's taking on Ireland, you would have probably had time to sort of reflect on that game. Was there anything that they threw up that just sort of surprised you in terms of just how they played the game and tried to control that tempo?
I guess nothing really surprising, but they were honestly just so physical in the collision and around the breakdown. And then second half, we had the win with us, but they were tactical and used the stoppages to their advantage and were quite clever. So yeah, credit to them.
In terms of using the stoppages and sort of controlling the time, is that just sort of what comes with just a bit more of an experienced side? You throwing out new halves, new captains. Is that just going to be a good learning lesson for WXV too?
I suppose so. I guess it's, again, we're playing over this side of the world and we're not as familiar with that aspect of the game. We're used to, sort of playing the footy quick and that transition attack and, being on the front foot. So what they did was quite clever.
I was going to say, because I had to sort of find the perspective of it's better to learn these lessons now rather than when sort of this time next year or sort of in 11 months' time when you're over here for a World Cup and you're not having to sort of deal with that on the run.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this tour is all about sort of emulating the World Cup, and we're onto our second game, so I guess, yeah, all learnings, and we'll take it into WXV.
I guess sort of looking into Wales, it's a team you're sort of very familiar with. What's sort of been that sort of... There's always been sort of tight clash. We look at the World Cup 2 years ago, you look at WXV as well. What do you think it is about Wales that just sort of always sort of brings that tight tussle?
I guess they're sort of similar to us, but they're very dominant in their forwards and they've got a few electric backs. So I think we just like the arm wrestle with them, and coming out on top last time, it's exciting knowing we get to play them.
I guess, it's a weird sort of situation to be in where you're essentially playing the same opposition twice in 2 weeks in 2 different continents as well. How do you go about approaching a game where you essentially know, essentially going to be playing them next week, and do you look to sort of hold back stuff? Do you look to sort of throw it? How do you approach a game like this?
I suppose, we go out there and give them hell, but we keep a few things in the arsenal for the following week, and I don't know, yeah.
I guess you sort of mentioned some of those speedy wingers. You look at someone like Jasmine Joyce, someone who's, accepted to sort of play a key part in their game plan. As a sort of a fellow winger, is that something you sort of enjoy, just that battle when you're being able to test yourself against some of the best out there?
Yeah, 100%. She's a class player and has been for years, so it's exciting to, match up against her and see how we go.
It's on a similar vibe, sort of being able to go one-on-one with Amy Lee Murphy-Crowe and get the better of her, arguably. Just for your own confidence, when you face someone like that who's been around the world, played in the Olympics, I think was named 7th Player of the Year at some point as well. Being able to test yourself and sort of come on top, what does that do for your own confidence?
Yeah, I guess it does put confidence in your stride, but it was an interesting game. I guess I didn't see much footy, but with the small opportunities I got, I think I just took them and was ready to go. But yeah, she was class.
I'd say, is it just when you're sort of defending up, they sort of try to run a lot of attack through, or is it just sort of a case of just backing your defence and backing that sliding D to sort of help support you and take her one-on-one?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I got G-Fred inside of me, who's one of the best centres in the world, so being able to, use that connection and be confident within doing that, I think that helps so much.
I guess looking at that back line, you have sort of a new 9 and 10. How do you find that combination with Nat and Fatala just sort of distributing the ball and just trying to unlock the attack a bit more, or in a different way?
Obviously, I think it was Nat's first start and Tyler's first start at 10 as well. It's exciting because, they haven't started before, and to have 2 young players come on in the halves is super special. But I think with key players around them, especially in our pack and in our back line, it supports them. So yeah, I think they were awesome.
When you already sort of on tour and you've already had, Brie Hoy go down with an ACL, I think Tanya Nathan's out with a hand injury like that. That's the type of injuries that can sort of derail a group. How do you go about keeping them strong and keeping them sort of focused on the job at hand and not letting those sort of distractions, not even to say distractions, but those setbacks really affect the group?
It's obviously frustrating and disappointing to see those girls go down, but I think it's just that next in line mentality, so making sure everyone gets through their reps and their knowledge and their content, so that if it is them that's stepping up to the plate, they're ready to go.
is, have you sort of been able to sort of dissect Wales's? I think Wales' last game at Scotland was like a 40-14 defeat. Were you able to sort of view over game plan, sort of game footage, and see what the Scots did incredibly well just to get on top of it?
Yeah, we've definitely looked at some opportunities we can capitalise on, and they've got their threats within their team as well. Their 10's got an awesome boot. They've got Jazzy Joyce out wide, and they've got one of the forwards, I think, the Tuipulotu girl. She's quite class within the middle, so they do have people within each part of the game that will show up.
This was always sort of similar situation with Ireland as well, particularly the way that their sort of playmakers dictated that kicking game. Has that been one of the biggest learnings, just how sort of they were able to really control that territory and, as you said, sort of manage the game a little better in the second half?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, especially leading into the World Cup, that's something we have to be better at. So to play a team like that is great for our experience.